Mike, we're continuing our What I Love About Comics video series. What's another thing you love about comics?
I'm going to make a break from what I've been talking about a little bit. So I'm going to talk about comics. Okay, now mainly what I've been talking about is writers and artists that I admire from back a ways. I mean, yeah, sure, I haven't gotten to Lee or Kirby, or Doug Mensch or some of those others. I may get there. We'll see. Depends on how long the series goes. But I want to talk about someone who's a newer writer, who's still an up and comer, still on the rise. I want to talk about a guy named Josh Williamson. Josh got his start, at least as far as I know, where he caught my attention, in Image Comics, doing a book called Ghosted. Ghosted? What's Ghosted, you say? Glad you asked. Ghosted is a story of a thief. How's that ghosted? Well, he's hired to steal something. That's what thieves do, right? There's a little twist. What he's hired to steal is the ghosts from a haunted house. So he assembles his crew in typical crime movie fashion, big heist, and gets all his experts, and they go into the most haunted house in the world to steal the ghosts. Things go wrong, because otherwise, how much excitement can there be? And it leads into all sorts of problems, including who hired him, what do they want with the ghost, and what's going to happen next. Ghosted was a limited series that went about 30-some issues and then ended. Great series from a strong beginning through the middle to the very end. Now, while Josh was doing that, after that had been started for a while, he started his next book. And he didn't want to do quite the same thing, but he still was definitely horror related. So he came up with Nailbiter. Nailbiter is the story of the town of Buckaroo, Oregon, the home of 16 of the worst serial killers of all time. They all come from this little town. The most recent of them is the title character. He got his nickname of Nailbiter from his habit of, once he captured his victims, before killing them, he would chew their nails down to the bone. And the main character, Nailbiter, that stuff happened years ago. He was caught, he was put in an insane asylum, he was cured. Now he's back in town. That's not where the action starts, though. The action starts when an FBI agent shows up in town looking for his lost partner, who was investigating Buckaroo, as many people had done, to try to figure out why so many serial killers came from this small town. Was it something in the water? What was causing it? The FBI agent got a mysterious message from his partner. "I've figured out the secret. Come, I've got to tell you." And that's the last anyone heard of him. What is the secret of Buckaroo? Why are these serial killers coming here? What's going on? If you read Nailbiter, you'll find out. Again, Josh starts the story with a long plan and a definite finish in mind. Nailbiter is already completed. You can get both Ghosted and Nailbiter in trades or in individual issues. You've got the whole story from the beginning through the end. No spin-offs. When it's done, it's done. Well, while Nailbiter was going, after Ghosted, Josh started his third big series from Image. This one's still coming out. It's called Birthright. As a matter of fact, the newest issue just came out this week. Beautiful art, wonderful storytelling, takes the standard fantasy tropes and turns them a little bit on their head. You've got this kid, Mikey, who, as happens often in fantasy novels, finds a doorway into a world where magic exists. And he goes through, where he finds out that he is the person destined to defeat the great evil, Lor, the God King. Sounds pretty familiar, right? That's not what we follow. No, we jump ahead a year or so in the future. During that time, we follow Mikey's family. Mikey went out into, was playing ball with his dad. His dad threw the ball into the woods. Mikey went in and never came out. What happened? The FBI suspects foul play. Who's the big suspect? Dad. This causes all sorts of problems in the family, divorce, unhappiness, his older brothers getting into fights in school. All these horrible things happen. Then, go to the end of the fantasy novels. What happens? The hero comes back to his world. Slight twist. Mikey was about 9 when he left. Time passes differently, so he's 25 when he comes back a year later. Oh, and then there's a couple of other little twists. Mikey, the hero destined to defeat Lor, the God King, didn't succeed. Instead, he came back to prepare the way for Lor to take over Earth. Now we start the action. That's Birthright. It's still coming out every month as the new issue hits. I am amazed at how beautiful the artwork is and intrigued and surprised in the directions the story's going. And when I say every week, one just came out and I didn't see what was coming. That happens consistently. In my mind, that's a sign of a great comic. Yeah, I've read a lot. I can usually predict what's going to happen. I can't with Josh Williamson. Okay, well, Josh normally does 2 series. What's the other one he's doing? I hear you ask. Right, Steve? Go ahead, ask.
What else is he doing?
Well, besides his image work that he's doing, he's also started working for DC Comics, where with the Rebirth, he started working on a little-known book, Flash. And he's been doing a great job killing his first superhero book for 25, 26 issues now, 30. I don't know. It's coming out every other week, so it's constantly there, and it's been excellent. What's he done with it? Well, one of the things he's done is he's managed to do something that I didn't think was possible. He's made Barry Allen into an interesting character. I've always loved Flash, but until this run of Flash, I've never cared about Barry Allen. He was a boring police scientist with a happy life. That his big thing was he was always late. But he was very two-dimensional and bland in my mind. Flash was great. His villains were great. Barry was boring. I saw that in the original run. I was happy when Wally took over because Wally had some personality. When Barry Allen returned under Jeff Johns, I was hopeful because Jeff is really good. And I loved what was going on with Flash and Professor Zoom and all the villains. And Barry was still boring. It wasn't until Josh Williamson got a hold of Barry that he became a person. So now I get to read a Flash comic for the first time in my life where not only is Flash interesting, not only are the villains interesting, but Barry is interesting. It's a great book. You've got new villains, you've got old villains, you've got classic stories, everything with a new twist. And it's been wonderful. Now, besides that, at DC, Josh has also done a couple of other little things. He co-wrote Justice League versus Suicide Squad. Or maybe he just wrote it. I don't remember. It's one of those two. Great series taking two big teams at DC and having them meet for the first time in the Reborn universe. Excellent series, 6 issues, great characterization, great fights, great comics. And then he's done something else for Vertigo also, just a 6 or 7 issue miniseries called Frostbite. Science fiction set in the future where there's been a catastrophe. They never say exactly what it was. The whole world has gone into a new ice age. Heat is the commodity. It's what you need to survive. If you don't have it, you will die. And you follow one person who happens to be a smuggler trying to get a scientist from point A to point B to try to save the world. But no one can know what's going on, because if they know that this scientist exists, she's worth millions of heat units. Whoever controls her could control the world. So can she get someplace to save it, or is someone going to get rich off of it? That's Frostbite. And it's people like Josh Williamson, the new creators that are still up and coming, are one of the reasons that to this day I still love comics.